Good morning, all my beautiful souls. I am Lady Stars on Fire. My real name is Michelle Espinosa, and this is the weekly healing messages for July 22nd, right on up to the 31st, right on up to the end of the month. First off, I'm being given the 5, number 5, in so many different ways. But let me start off with saying, I've been saying in the last couple of videos that I've been doing, Spirit keeps pointing out, and along with the astrology, it's backing them, they're backing each other up, that everything has to do with coming into our inner emotional security and figuring out what that is. And I keep saying this year we're starting to come into a new understanding of what our true authenticity is. I mean, we're coming into a spot within understanding who our true selves are in a way we've never been able to understand before, because we've never been able to be it before. We haven't been able to really truly step into that power before, for whatever reason. It has a lot to do with the way, society is, the way the planets are, what's going on in our world and whatnot. We're just coming to a place we've never been before, which changes our view of true authenticity. And that starts to deepen and broaden. And what Spirit reminds me is, in order to face your insecurities so that you can come into creating inner emotional security, well, in truth, that's all about finding strength within vulnerability. But not necessarily outwardly. This is within finding strength within vulnerability with acceptance of self. And this is how we start to find true authenticity as we start to mature and change and evolve. Spirit tells me Wonder Woman over and over again. They keep giving me like the Wonder Woman sign when she goes like this in the old movies or the old show. And it's about finding your inner Wonder Woman. For men, your inner Superman. And it's not a superhero, is what Spirit's saying. You're getting it wrong. That the idea of Wonder Woman, Superman, aren't from here. They're not of Earth. And neither are you. Because you're not only of Earth. You're more than that. And this is how you need to start seeing it. I'm sorry, I'm looking at the notes because I've been getting a lot of notes this morning before I did this video, before I started to come out with this video. They're trying to make you understand you're more than just human. But in order to heal, you must deal with that human, which is where it brings us back to the 5. And then Spirit gives me skeletons all over again. But that finally started to make sense. See, especially for any of you who are having trouble moving up, there is a lot of situations. Let's face it, we're approaching the Lion's Gate. That's a very illuminating time. And there are always situations within the Lion's Gate where there's always like a hidden gate for you to get through. And there is one this year as well. So if you don't make it through right during the illumination of the Lion's Gate, there is still time. But the quicker you get right with self, the easier this is. And the reason I'm saying that is because Spirit keeps giving me the skeletons over and over again. And I'm watching my cats. I'm validating they don't try to jump off of my balcony. I don't know what they're going on about. But the skeleton is because this has everything to do with Saturn. See, for us as humans, Saturn is our skeleton. It is our bones. Are you feeling sore? Have you been feeling sore? Has your muscles been feeling sore? I mean, sore to the bone. Your teeth. This is all part of your inner Saturn trying to figure out what the new direction is and how to set the new foundation that you're trying to create. And the more you're in pain with it is pressure being built up because of that. More or less, Saturn is being challenged. It's the fire and the ice, which is revolution within self. It's also, if you do tarot cards, it's the Temperance card. Let me see. Let me find where I'm talking about. But we're bringing it to the 5 because of the skeleton, because of what the 5 stands for. The 5 does typically stand for, like in angel numbers, when you're looking at it from this point of view. The 5 stands for something major is changing in your life. Something is about to change or has already started to shift and change. But 5 is incredibly loyal to the number 5. It's incredibly loyal to what is important to that number, to whatever is important to you as a human being. It's loyal to that situation, even though it is all about change and adaptability. Go on in. Go in. But 5 reminds us also where I'm brought to. It reminds us of the Hamse hand. I am sorry. I am sure I am butchering it. It is one of the symbols that is used often. It's the hand with the eye in it. And it is said to protect against the evil eye. But this also speaks to me of the Yod, which is in the astrology. Kind of. And that's because that's the way Spirit is putting it to me. This is all speaking to us of getting right with your human, so that you could get right with your inner Superman or your inner Wonder Woman, more or less, and understand that you are more than just of here. You are more than just this human being that's on this planet at this time. You are more than that. And as you start to acknowledge that, you will start to be able to clear these chakras where there's blockages, is what I'm being told. And the pain that you might be feeling, or the muscles, or the aching, and the sore bones, and the skeleton in general, that will start to clear up. And if you're working your way through this, you'll clear it before the Lion's Gate, which will help you ascend so much faster. But the Yod speaks to us of the hand of God, which is why the hand with the eye in it speaks to me at this time with the 5. Because technically it's 2 thumbs and the 3 fingers with the eye that protects you against the evil. Setting a new pathway, a new direction. The hand of God is the idea, but in astrology it's directing you to a new path, which is what this week is all about. It is all about getting to where Saturn is being challenged. But I'm being given the number 5 again, which reminds us we have 5 body parts. I mean, you have 2 arms, 2 legs, and your head. 5 different body parts. It speaks to us of, let me pull up my notes here. It speaks to us of 5 is the number of Mercury. Mercury for us, when we look in astrology, is our communication. It just moved back, it just moved back into universal 4th house of Cancer. So it's coming back into communication with that inner emotional security, which is the universal 4th house of home. 5 speaks to us of our 5 senses. This is where it comes down to our sensitivities and Saturn's energies of the body, the skeleton. Because those 5 senses are your sight, your hearing, your taste, your smell, your touch. This is bringing us back to the idea of the pressure that Saturn is under to understand the shifts and changes that need to be made. And what is this new foundation that you're trying to create? Who is this inner emotional security that it doesn't know anything about? Go on in, Nebby. Who is this person? It needs to understand this person so that it can create it and bring it into life for you. And I am being given specifically for this week as a reminder. And I'm laughing because of the way Spirit gave it to me. Is they say often that you are always exactly where you're meant to be. You are always exactly where it is you are meant to be. And that's because free will always have a chance to choose well or to choose wrong, to choose the blessing or to choose the punishment. All pathways will lead to the same place. You'll just decide how many times you must follow that pathway. And they say that because they give me the idea of, they give me one of my cards from one of my decks, which is the Prince of Pentacles. Because they're giving me the bull in this sense. Bull speaks to us of Taurus, which speaks to us of our individuality, our uniqueness, our freedom within our self-worth, our self-value, our self-esteem. But are we bullheaded? It also speaks to us of abundance and magnification, because it's manifestation being magnified with the abundance. And where are we taking it? But the Prince of Pentacles is writing it into tangible reality. This speaks to us of the new pathway, finding the new pathway. This speaks to us of how so many of us at this time feel stagnant and ready to take action at the same time. Feel stillness and action at the same time. You are taking action. This is just a very slow moving time. This is a very slow moving manifestation. Even though manifestation's coming in like this, the manifestation that what you're trying to project in the long haul is coming through slow, because your inner bull, your inner Taurus, your inner Uranus, for all intents and purposes right now, is stuck. Your inner bull is stuck in most cases. And what I mean by that is, it's figuring out, just like Taurus is, just like Saturn is, what are all of these new arising energies of our self-worth, our self-value, our self-esteem, our independence, our individuality, uniqueness, our freedom. And how do we create this? And how are we making this happen? How are we creating that heaven on earth that we desire? So how do we create the foundation? And the bull is abundance. The bull is manifestation. The bull is how you feel about yourself. I was told back when Lilith first, when Lilith and Neptune first went retrograde and it started moving towards Lilith, that we were going to be dealing with the number 5. This is take care of your inner person so that you can get to feel good about yourself. You can figure out who he or she is on the deepest level that you've ever been able to, because we're coming into a new level of authenticity past what you've ever understood. So this is, how do we create it? The bull's stuck. The bull isn't not moving. The bull is moving. The bull's just moving slowly because the Prince of Pentacles is on its back. And it's trying to make sure that it's going to cross the finish line. Hold on, Mr. Neptune. It wants to cross the finish line. It wants to make sure that it's created the tangible reality that it desires. So many of us are in a still movement of action. We are taking action. We are making the movements. We are making the decisions. But we're making hard ones right now. And the bull is trying to make sure that the abundance it brings in is driving the right way. You're driving yourself home in the right direction. So tangible reality can be made. So is what I'm being told. So this is about patience and action. And let's face it, none of us are great at patience. So we want just the action right now. And in some cases, we have to slow down because we have to validate that we're steadfast in making sure we're doing it right. With that being said, I'm going to jump into astrology. Did I leave anything out here? Yeah, there is definitely some situations within the heart chakra, the heart chakra too. Because the heart chakra is where you're holding on to lack of forgiveness for self, typically. But this is about inner emotional security, finding pleasure. What are you not, where have you not been loving yourself right? Where have you not been responsible to your own self? These are the questions you need to ask yourself. Where have you not been responsible to making sure that you have your inner emotional security? And within that, finding pleasure in life. There are your 2 keys, leading you right on up through the next month. I can't give you anything better than that because those are the 2 keys that you need to know most of all. And then let the Prince of Pentacles ride you through. Slow, steady, and precisely to the fact of exactly what you wish to create. You are going to have some issues within. You're going to be having some issues within the throat chakra, within the third eye, and within the crown. This is where the pressure will be building up if you are holding on to things you are not letting go of. If you're still holding on to, you're not releasing. If you're still not releasing these things, this is where the pressure is going to build up. And you'll feel like, like a kettle on a stove that's going psst. Because that's the revolution inside of you not being able to take place. That's where the fire sits within the water. Is the way they explain it to me. And the only way is to allow the crown to open. Otherwise, you will start the cycle all over again. Alright, on the 22nd, the sun moves into Leo. This is changing the shifting of the very core energy for each and every one of us, because the sun, no matter what sign you are, is your core energy. So, on a universal standpoint, it's moving into Leo. It is now going, well, let me start looking at why I'm not happy, and where I don't find pleasure, and where I can't let my creativity out, and why is my fire not illuminating and shining and being the sun that it should be? Why am I not just feeling the glow that I should be? And where is this not happening and why? So it's gone from the inner emotional security to a specific direction of understanding what will or will not make you happy, and why it will or will not make you happy. Venus is moving in on the 27th, going to bring more sensitivity to that very idea. You also have Mars there, you have Jera there, but you also have Kokub there, which is one of the guardians of the pole. Let me help you to understand. This means the sun is there. Sun is your shine, your illumination, it's your core energy, as well as part of your ego. Venus is your sensitivities. It is your sight, your hearing, your touch, your smell, how you feel about things, good or bad. Mars is your passion, your action, your aggression, your inner warrior, your inner SWAT team. Jura, or Ura, is your sacrifice and a commitment it takes to make it right. And then you have the guardian of the pole there, which is the dragon's tail. Oh, bless you, little dude. And its energy alone carries Saturn, Venus, and the sun. So you're going to be double illuminated by Venus, double illuminated by the sun, and then you still have Mars there, Jura there, and the energy of Saturn there. There's no reason you come to a dead stop. The action is still moving forward. You're just really getting right with what those actions you are wishing to set forward are, because you're getting into detail about what it is that makes you happy and what it is you want and what it is you don't, because that will go back to creating that inner emotional security. And this is what you're going to be acknowledging all the way up through the end of the month. This is also why you may feel the pressure in the head, and in the heart, because Leo also rules the heart. So this is where the heart and the head are not necessarily getting along. They're fighting each other because you're trying to understand that it's acceptable for you to love yourself enough to be able to have and create what you truly honestly desire, and you don't have to worry about what the outer community says. You have the authority and the right to do so once you figure out what it is you want to do. And with that, with the crown energy opening up, it will help you release that energy. Spirit is saying, look to the future. Look and see through the situation. See through the situation of what you've been creating and what the future is or could be. Use that third eye energy with its growth to help you understand as you move forward, so that you can create what you truly desire. But then as the sun and Venus move out of Cancer and into Leo, this leaves Cancer alone with the Sirius star, which is always at 14 degrees. It leaves it with Mercury, which is now in retrograde, to distinctly talk to that Sirius star and that North Node. This is an incredibly powerful energy, and it's only going to get stronger all the way through the rest of the month. And then when Mercury goes direct and comes back, it's going to get even more stronger, because the North Node is about what you have to learn in order to get right, in order to move forward. And it's all about the home of who and what you are, your inner emotional security, and solving those karmic debts. This is reincarnation. This is why they're giving me the Wonder Woman sign. And they keep doing this. That's why I'm doing it. They keep stating, you're only invisible to them out there if you choose to be. You're only the same as everybody else if you choose to be. When you start to realize you're more than just this, then you will choose to be. As you're coming into this understanding, the Sirius star is considered to be the dog star. It is the star that the Egyptians always looked to as their illuminating time. The Sirius star is said to carry God's consciousness. I see it more like Thor's hammer. But it's supposed to be the illuminating teacher. Sorry, I'm still watching my cat. Speaking with you in Mercury in retrograde up until the end of the month is going, where has your inner communication with yourself not been quite right? Where have you not healed yourself because you haven't taught yourself you're worth healing? Where have you not loved yourself right because you didn't think you were worth loving yourself right? This is making you get these karmic energies correct this time around, solving the North Node so the North Node can move you forward. This is about bringing that energy into a very powerful new beginning, but it's in opposition with Capricorn, Saturn, and Pluto, and the North Node. There's something about your outer community that you've gotten very good at that doesn't serve you anymore. And part of that has to do with the unreal authenticity of what you were. Realizing who you were meant to always be and who you will become, because it already is you. You just have to claim it. And having the authority within yourself to claim it and the right to acknowledge it. This is speaking to you of death, decay, and destruction for renewal, rebirth, and regeneration. It's reincarnation on top of reincarnation. This is finding where Saturn is going, okay, well, if we're changing, Would somebody please explain to me what these rules, walls, and boundaries are so we can set the new foundation and make those changes? Aries is having a situation going on its complete own this week. From the 22nd to the 23rd, the moon is crossing Chiron. In Aries, the moon tends to get a little bit more me first and a little bit fire-filled energy. Me first, I want this right now, and if it's not going to be right now, well, then I'm over it and I'm moving on to something else, and screw that. Chiron is the wounded healer, already stepping backwards, going, where did I not quite get it right? Because some of these cycles are reoccurring, and what do I got to change so these recycles don't reoccur? So this could be a bubbling fire day of energy, of fighting yourself. I'm just forewarning you. On the 23rd through the 25th, the moon is crossing Aries, which is who I call Medusa. Inner trouble, toil, strife, and injustice. This is why you're being given the Prince of Pentacles for the rest of the month. This is where you come into that, because there are still some deep energies, but they're not hitting as hard now because the sun has moved into, what do I got to do to make me happy? We already know where we haven't treated ourselves right. We already know where we haven't loved ourselves right. The difference is acknowledging it. And what do we do about it? We don't have to beat ourselves up as hard anymore. Unless we do, because you haven't been listening to it. But the core itself energy is about, what do we do to make us happy? And how do we create that change? Because through that change, we help ourselves discover who we are and our inner emotional security by allowing ourselves to have the authority to believe we can and do so. So this is speaking to that Medusa energy of wanting to hold on to the trouble, toil, and strife and fight it. That's about release, remember. We have to release what doesn't serve us. And it's fighting us because at this time, it's the bull not knowing which direction to go. Where's the new pathway? This is time for you to take some inward meditation for self and get past Medusa's bullshit. On top of it, Medusa is in opposition of a Libra with Pallas and Haumea. This whole year, I said, was about relationships. This is about realizing what relationships don't serve you so that you can start getting the ones that do. Starting with how you treat yourself. Medusa, trouble, toil, strife, and injustice. Is injustice showing up in these relationships? Because it's showing you where you've done the same thing over and over and over again. Because Haumea is your collective consciousness, forcing it to be brought back into your attention. Pallas is Athena, the warrior goddess, and she's all about strategic thinking. How do I change this? What is the new pathway? How do we make a new pathway? You have Chiron, which is in opposition of Libra also, which Libra happens to be that universal 7th house of relationships, and it is in opposition of make or maki. And that's the lotus flower. So where can you not see through the dirty, mucky water? Where are you stuck in it? Where are you refusing to make the changes because you're still having the same relationships? So that you can finally burst through into the sun and bloom. What do you refuse to change? Because those relationships should be illuminating themselves as things that have to change. You also have Lilith, which is talking to Jupiter, and it's only talking to Jupiter. Lilith is your inner sexual temptress, looking for how she wants to help you feel good about yourself, but not necessarily by doing it in the right way, because she's in the universal 12th house. She's still picking at old habits. And she's only talking to Jupiter, which is not having it, and throwing it back to Neptune. And telling Neptune, you straighten this out. You create new magic. This is your magic. You made this. You created it. You fix it. Jupiter I see in Sagittarius as our higher self. Our higher self already knows we're better than what we ever thought we were. It's time for us to start believing it and taking ground within the healing of creating it. Gemini on the 28th is going to be a very, very powerful day, is what I'm being told. You're going to have a T-square. This is not going to be positive energy. This is going to be a challenging energy, but it should help you move forward by overcoming a part of your inner emotional securities. You have in Gemini the universal third house, which is too close to home and your very communication. It's also your siblings, your neighbors, and how you communicate with everything. It is speaking with Neptune, and it is speaking with Sagittarius. Same kind of conversation I was just saying, except for Gemini has the moon in it, bringing extra emotional sensitivity to it, the depths of what you are to it, and it's sitting on top of the North Star, which is the other guardian of the pole. The guardians of the pole are forcing you to get your shit together before that Lion's Gate. Another guardian of the pole is going to bring you another sun energy, another they're saying more or less this is still another reincarnation, but because they're saying Pluto. But typically, the guardians of the pole is Saturn energy, it is the sun energy, and it is sensitivity, but they're saying this is Pluto. So this is where you'll find your reincarnation, where you should get smacked in the face with it if you need to make the changes and you're not seeing them. This is where it should definitely illuminate itself for you, because if I'm being given the Pluto, I'm being shown where you need to make the change if you're not making it, because your inner emotional depths are going to be speaking to that universal 12th house and that universal 9th house about how you communicate with yourself about your healing. This is all about finding, Spirit just pointed it out to me, again, this is about the bull finding the new path. Will you have the courage to take it? I love you. Also, please, if you enjoy the videos, please check back, because I'm going to be starting to shoot August's homework family readings for each zodiac sign here shortly. In the next day or so, I'll start making the first few ones, and I'll bring them right on up until we hit August 1st. I love you. Bye, everybody.